Hi there, everyone. Bradley here, and Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me today. This is the first presentation that I've offered in 2026. And of course, I wish you a wonderful, amazing year full of happiness and, most importantly, wonderful health. We all need that, don't we? But thank you for tuning in today. We had a marvelous year in 2025. My goodness, we traveled throughout the world and highlighted Canada, seen an awful lot, and it was terrific. And 2026 is going to be just as exciting. So today I'm here to talk about Iceland. And Iceland is still regarded as one of the most popular destinations in the world for travelers. It has been ranked as one of the very top places to go for many years now. And luckily for us, when we're flying out of Toronto, uh, we don't really have that far to go to get to Iceland. It's a nice, shorter flight, and maximum 6 hours generally. But depending on that jet stream, you can get there in really good time. So it's it we're certainly in a great place for going to Iceland. Unlike a lot of places in the world when they're coming in and it's taking them like hours and hours to get there, we have that advantage of getting somewhere that's very exotic in a short period of time. So we'll be gathering. This tour goes July the 24th to August the 2nd, which is prime time for Iceland. It's when you have those long days, typically around 18 hours of sunlight, and then you'll be in twilight. So basically, you're not going to see much darkness when you're in Iceland during this time of year. So a great time to be there, that's for sure, and definitely it's the high season for travelers when it comes to Iceland. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can visit Iceland. One of them, of course, by land, and the thing with land is the roads aren't always the best, and it's kind of a little grueling, and you're going through a lot of real barren areas. Hotel accommodations, there's not a whole lot when you get out of the capital. And it's more adventurous, I would say, a land program. We're taking the more relaxing route on this journey. We're going to go by cruise ship. We'll be on the Celebrity Constellation, which is definitely an older celebrity ship, but it was fully renovated. They spent tons and tons of money on it. And you just read amazing reviews on that ship. And basically, when you walk on, you're going to feel like it's a newer ship, but the fact that it has the modern style of today's cruise ships, but on a boutique size, so it's much smaller than a lot of the new ships nowadays, and that's a nice advantage for travel with Bradley passengers. Everyone seems to enjoy the smaller ships that are much more manageable, much more intimate. So we'll be on the Celebrity Constellation. It's a week-long cruise. We'll, of course, be gathered. Oh, and don't forget, always include balcony staterooms on any Travel with Bradley cruise, so you'll have that advantage. We'll be gathering on July 24th, and we'll you'll be able to park your car, head over to the airport, and get ready for the flight. Of course, we always include the Plaza Premium Lounge as a nice Travel with Bradley perk. And everyone loves that. You can grab some food, some beverage, just get to mingle with your fellow passengers and relax before the flight and avoid sort of the chaos of the airport. We'll be flying to Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland, and that's where the main population is, of course. We'll clear customs, immigration procedures, gather our luggage, meet a local guide, and we will head towards the port of call. We're going to do our overnight in Reykjavik at the end. I thought it made most sense to get to the ship, get unpacked, get relaxed. The next day is a day at sea. You can enjoy that. And then by the time you start touring, you'll be used to the time change, you'll be good and energized, and you'll be ready to go. So this way will be much more relaxing. You'll get to see some of Reykjavik on our way to the pier and get an idea what that's all about. And you'll get on the cruise ship for your 7-night cruise. You'll get to settle in, get unpacked, check out your balcony stateroom, and enjoy some entertainment, some wonderful food, and relax before you start visiting the ports of call. So once we leave Reykjavik, we'll be going to different ports of call that'll be very rural. And there'll be different opportunities of things that you can do. You could always book a Celebrity Cruise shore excursion. You might want to just stroll in the areas on your own. Or if you're up and at it first thing in the morning, you're one of the first ones off the ship. There's always some locals that'll offer some tours that people like as a wonderful option. The thing about Iceland that I think is so wonderful is not just the scenery that, as I said, changes depending on where you are, but it's the people that live there. A lot of them have spent their entire life there. And for us living someplace that is so remote would maybe be a hard thing to do. Especially when you consider after the peak season and the weather changes and you're into winter, it's a pretty tough life in these rural areas. I have some really fond memories, though, of people that I have met in Iceland. I was in this small sort of hamlet with maybe 100 people living there, and just a dirt road and a couple streets leading off of it, a little church as you come into the community, a variety store with not a whole lot of supplies. Like you looked at cereal, there'd be 2 boxes of a certain variety. A famous little bookstore that I'll never forget. The size of it, not much bigger than my living room. But the star of the place was the owner, and it is family generation ownership of this bookstore. And they had a few souvenirs, some local books in there. But the owner, the current son that's running it, he dresses like he's expecting royalty. Tweed jacket, bow tie, cap, just prim and proper. And that's basically how the bookstore is, just very prim and proper. And it's rated as a bookstore that you need to visit. That, you know, there's books printed that where it'll be bookstores you should visit around the world, and they're listed. And it was cool just chatting with him, chatting with those local people, talking about their life, how long they've been there, you know, what life is like. And you're traveling along, you come across some of the Iceland horses, which are very unique. The lupins in the landscape, the waterfalls, just it's a very beautiful, rugged landscape. So keep that in mind too. When you're roaming around in Iceland, you may have to stroll a bit down a path that might not be overly even. So, depending on what you want to do, if you're just willing to kind of relax on the cruise ship, get off, walk around a little bit, come back on, you don't have to be as concerned about your mobility. But if you want to roam around and see a little bit more, you want to make sure that, let's say you have a cane, that you're good and agile with that cane and you can get around no problem, as many people can that have a cane. So just kind of, we can't really tell you what you're going to be able to handle or not. You know better than us. But just know that, to get to a waterfall, you may have to walk some distance to get there. So we'll be touring around. I'm not going to talk about the different ports of call because, to be quite honest, I'll never pronounce them correct anyway. But they'll be unique, wonderful way to experience Iceland. The end of the cruise, while you're still on board, you have a day in the port of Reykjavik, so which is wonderful because you're on the cruise, but you get the opportunity to experience that city, and it really is an amazing city. The majority of the population lives there, and they have so many opportunities for the ones that live there. So many sporting things, theaters. There's just lots to keep the locals happy, I guess. And that'll be a neat spot to pick up some souvenirs. Of course, you'll have your most variety there. But I must tell you, when you're in the local ports of call and you come across the locals that in these rural areas that have their handicrafts and stuff, if you see something that you want to get it then, because you're never going to find that kind of stuff in the regular stores in Reykjavik. You'll have that day. You get off the ship the following day, but we overnight you another day in Reykjavik. We'll be staying at a very nice hotel. We'll be doing the Golden Circle tour. And when I put this together, I knew that it was prime importance that we included that because for a lot of people, it's on their bucket list of drives to do from around the world. Very beautiful. You'll see an awful lot. You go to a farm where you get to see the horses. They grow tomatoes there. You might think, well, big deal. But when you realize the effort that it takes to grow tomatoes in Iceland, you'll appreciate what they're doing. And anyone that enjoys agriculture, of course, will enjoy that. It's pretty much a full day tour. That Golden Circle tour will be a highlight for sure. We'll have our private vehicle or our guide that'll take us around and show us the highlights. The following day, we'll be flying back to Toronto. You'll have a lot of wonderful memories. This is a great summertime tour to do. The way we're doing it is definitely the most economical way to see Iceland. Iceland is very expensive, but what isn't anymore? But you have to realize that in Iceland, so much of their food, their supplies, whatever, has to be shipped in, and there's an expense for that. So the locals, of course, it costs them a lot of money to live in Iceland, and for tourists, it costs plenty to see Iceland because the costs are, of course, high. But by cruise, it is the most economical way to visit Iceland. I invite you to join me on this journey. It'll be one that you will really enjoy, and something, as I said, that really isn't that far from Toronto to have to go and travel to. So the itinerary, where it gives you a lot more details, will be online. You could check that out. There are very few cruises that do full circle tours of Iceland. So they're the most popular, the ones that sell out the quickest. So make your decisions, and hopefully we'll see you in Iceland. Thank you very much. Bye bye now. Hi everyone, Bradley here, and I'm excited to chat with you today in regards to Prince Edward Island. My goodness, the smallest province in Canada by size and population, but it has an awful lot to offer. And I can say that Travel with Bradley, we've never really been known for Canadian tours up until last year when we started running a number of them. I developed a number of different tours for different regions in Canada, and I started receiving a lot of praise. Just because when I put these tours together, I try to find unique things. People have emailed me and said, they've been going to these destinations over the years, and I found things they didn't even know existed. But I always like to do things with a little bit of a twist when you travel with Bradley. And sort of with this one, I had to think, how was I going to work it? Were we going to fly to Charlottetown, or are we going to coach out to the island? So had a chat with the Travel with Bradley team, and we all felt that the majority of you that would like to go to PI would probably like to go by motor coach. So that's how I developed this tour. I had to change the dates a couple times as I was doing it because I found things that would be great to do but didn't work with the dates that I originally had in mind. So I had to keep swapping things around until everything came in place. And I'm very excited about this journey. The dates are August the 25th to September the 3rd. So prime time to be out east. But if I originally was planning on going later, but so many things closed down after Labor Day. The island's different. A lot of things aren't available. So wanted you to see as much as possible. So we're going in prime time. So on August 25th, which is a Monday, we'll gather in Woodstock as usual for our coach tours, and you'll have the opportunity to overnight at a hotel there, have dinner, get to meet your fellow passengers overnight, and parking is included for the length of time that we're away if you come to Woodstock with your vehicle. So we're then going to hit the road the next day, and I thought it'd be fun to include Thousand Island boat cruise. So we're going to do that. Always nice to get on one of those boats and see the beauty of the Thousand Islands. And we'll be overnighting in Kingston on the first night because that is close to where we're going to be getting on and off the boat. So the next day, I found a really unique indigenous resort in Quebec that is highly rated. We're not going to have time to sort of be exploring that area, but I thought it would be really nice to stay there. It's more of a boutique property, a small property, and has amazing ratings from people that go. The staff that I've been dealing with has just been absolutely wonderful. The location is beautiful. We'll get to try a few unique things for dinner that evening at the resort, and just sort of a nice place to stay as we're traveling, and sort of a highlight of the journey. So really looking forward to that. Something that's definitely different. And then we'll be heading to Fredericton, New Brunswick, where we will overnight. And I learned with the Canadian tours, when I'm looking at hotels, of course, I'm dealing with all of them in these destinations because there's not that many. So I contact them all. But good resource has been my brother Darren because he's always on the road with uh, groups, musical groups that he takes from coast to coast in Canada, and he's staying in a lot of these destinations. So I'll say, Darren, where'd you stay in Fredericton? And we're actually staying in the hotel that he always stays at, and he really loves it. Um, so there's not a whole lot of choice when you're traveling in Canada in some of these destinations for hotels, but I always try to offer something that is going to be really good quality for the area, and that's of course what we're doing in Fredericton. And we'll have time to be able to do a tour of Fredericton, and you'll get to see what it's all about. Another Canadian destination, and so it's sort of nice that we'll arrive there in a decent time, and you'll get to experience it. We then the following day head to Charlottetown. It'll be I'll admit it'll be an early departure that day, and we'll be slugging to get there because one thing that sort of developed when I was putting this tour together is I realized that there was quite a bit of theater I could offer. So, really promoting this tour as a show tour because there's so much music and theater involved in this tour. And I really haven't seen other tour companies that are offering this kind of opportunity like I am. And of course, wanted to do Anne of Green Gables, the musical. And when I was looking at dates and seeing how this would work for Anne of Green Gables, I noticed there in their calendar it said CFA. And I was thinking, what is that? And I had to hunt a little bit. It wasn't easy on their website to kind of maneuver it, but found that it was Come From Away, the famous Canadian musical that has sort of put Canada on the map around the world. And I thought, wow, it would be great to be able to include that musical too. So unfortunately, the dates that I was working with, it wouldn't work. So kind of went to the drawing board again, contacted hotels, said, can you take us at this different time? And sort of was like a jigsaw to work all over again, but was able to get that performance. So it's an early afternoon performance, and we have a little bit of a hike to get there. So we'll be leaving fairly early to get there. But I thought it'd be worth it to be able to see Come From Away. After that performance, we'll do a tour, so you'll get to see what Charlottetown is all about. And we're staying at a lovely property, a Victorian property. I noticed a lot of tour companies don't stay in Charlottetown. It is more expensive, of course. It's the capital. But the fact that we're seeing 3 theater productions in Charlottetown, I thought it'd be much easier staying there. I didn't want us going to a evening performance and then having an hour drive to get to our hotel. So Charlottetown, of course, you pay a premium to be staying at, but I think most people are going to be happy to be in the capital. And I think that the Victorian hotel that we're staying at will be extremely charming. It is a little bit smaller, again, more boutique in style, and something a little bit more unique once again. So we'll be seeing 3 theater productions in Charlottetown. Come From Away, as I said, Anne of Green Gables, the musical, and Anne and Gilbert, the musical. So very, very fortunate to be able to include all of those. Plus, we'll be going into an area where there's an Acadian village, and we'll be having a meal there and entertainment, much like a kitchen party. So it'll be local musicians performing for us. Should be a fun time. Get to experience some local flavor when it comes to the Acadian food, and it'll be nice to see that part of the island. We will be one day we'll be met by a local guide that'll be touring us around, and I'm the first to admit I don't know exactly everything we're going to be doing yet that day. It'll be a matter in the spring once everything reopens and you see what has reopened and what is new on the island. I'll kind of work with the local guide and get the suggestions that they have to offer, and we'll decide what we're going to do when we're touring around. I do want to include an afternoon tea because that's sort of a Canadian thing nowadays, and something that everyone enjoys on tours that we've been offering. And of course, take in the local flavor, not just with the scenery, of course, hit some of the Anne of Green Gables sites, but to support some of the local businesses that I always like to do when we're traveling in Canada. Of course, there'll be a lobster dinner. I've had some of you that always ask, when you offer something like a lobster dinner, is there an alternative? For those of you that don't eat seafood or lobster, of course, there's always going to be an alternative. There's a place that's quite famous that we'll be going to for our lobster meal. But we'll be visiting a number of local restaurants, of course, and you'll get to enjoy some really good home cooked meals. So 3 nights in a PEI where we'll be touring around, seeing theater. As I said, really theming it as a show tour. When we come back to Ontario, I found quite a modern hotel that's located just a stone's throw from the St. Lawrence River in a small community that we'll be staying at one night. We'll also be, the following day, we'll stop at a sugar shack, which is, of course, a real Canadiana thing to do. And once again, there'll be entertainment there and a wonderful meal. And it's always terrific to enjoy that Sugar Shack meal. And we will continue in, we'll be staying that evening in Brockville. And then we'll be heading home the following day. We'll have a nice farewell luncheon on our way back, but we'll get into Woodstock later in the afternoon. So 10 days total. And I invite you to join me on this PEI motor coach tour. I think it'll be a great way to see the island, to experience it. I have lots of memories of PEI when I was much younger, touring with the Walters family, as we did for so many years. We quite often would play lobster festivals in PEI. And I have many amazing memories of being on the island during that time period. It definitely is a favorite destination for a lot of Canadians. But sadly, a lot of folks will just stay for a very short period of time, sort of a pass-through with PEI. I didn't want that. I wanted PEI to sort of be the highlight of this journey. And I think you'll agree with me that that was a good decision. So the itinerary will be online. You're more than free to go through it for more details about the trip. I do expect, as most motor coach tours, that this one will sell quite quickly. And so don't wait too long to make your decision. Since it is prime time that we're traveling into. The hotels are much stricter with their policies because they know they're going to be full whether we're staying there or someone else. It's not like there's a lot of accommodations to pick from. Um, so don't wait too long to decide if you're going to be joining us. But if you love beautiful scenery, love to explore Canada, love some great theater and entertainment, this is a tour for you, and I hope to see you aboard. So thank you very much for spending this time with me. If you have any questions, just reach out to the team at Travel with Bradley, and they'd be more than happy to help you out. Thank you and hope to see you aboard. Bye now.